Welcome in for another episode of Destination Heartland. I'm Sharon Chen with KCTV5 News. All right, are y'all ready for your virtual trip? Today we are going to a fun place. We are going to the home of the Huskers. This is just about 3 hours northwest of Kansas City. So right now I'm going to go ahead and bring in Jeff Mall. He is with Visit Lincoln. There you are. Hi Jeff, how you doing today?
Oh, well, how are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm so excited to dig into Lincoln. I spent some time in Nebraska for my career, and Lincoln is one of those places that we used to always go and play in. So let's start with this. What makes Lincoln unique among Midwest capitals?
I think one of the things that comes up a lot is I think a lot of people associate state capitals with hustle and bustle, urban environments, just something that doesn't feel like home. And I think Lincoln's always done a good job of being an extension of small town America, yet still a big city in nature. So I think a lot of people just love Lincoln because it's an extension of their small town. Our pace of life is what I tell people, very 6 o'clock on the steering wheel versus white knuckled 10 and 2.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's one of the things that makes us a unique state capital.
And Lincoln became the state capital, let's see, in 1867. So, how has that time evolved in shaping Lincoln since then?
I think just the evolution as a state capital, the home of the Huskers that you mentioned earlier. Thank you for doing that. We are a university town, and I just think that evolution is that we've really never became anything that we weren't going back to 1867. Again, very 6 o'clock in nature on the steering wheel, kind of an extension of a small town America. And again, it's just a place that people love to call home, and we're finding more and more these days people are coming back home after taking what I call a career honeymoon and going and seeing what it's like somewhere else. They come back and go, you know what? It really wasn't that bad in Lincoln while we were here, and now we're back.
Well, and I mean, I spent my last 3 years before coming here in Omaha. And,
Sure.
being from California and coming back to the Midwest, because I started my career here, and it was really refreshing. I like the Midwest. I love the Midwest values. I love the, as you said, not the traffic, and it's just a nice family oriented community. And I know Lincoln's kind of the same way.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a good point of comparison. You bring up Omaha and your time that you spent in Omaha, and I think people from Kansas City are probably going to feel a little bit more at home in Omaha because it's a little faster pace and it's got a very bustling interstate system. And again, you come to Lincoln once you get off the exit, you're just kind of you fall into who we are and just the life that we experience day in and day out. So, and we're separated by about 45 minutes from Omaha. So if you really like the
Mm-hmm.
big city hustle and bustle, head up to Omaha and come down and see us in Lincoln.
Yeah, it's a little bit slower in Lincoln for sure. What I love about is Lincoln's history. Let's dig into a little bit of that, which is what were some of Lincoln's most defining moments in history?
I think one of the most defining moments in history was constructing of the state capitol and in establishing Lincoln as a state capital. Being a land grant university for the University of Nebraska was very historic. And, we've had a lot of things along the way, but I think just more our history of where we came from and getting to where we are today. Having Lincoln named after Abraham Lincoln was very historic. And in fact, you'll see probably two, three, maybe four different statues in the downtown area, not too far from our office, that honor the legacy that is Abraham Lincoln and his influence on the political scene, but also being the namesake state capital in the country.
Sure. And I mean, obviously, Lincoln, one of the primary historical figures that visitors will learn about when they come to Lincoln. What are some of the others that they might be surprised to learn about?
Dick Cheney has been in the news lately.
Mhm.
He recently passed away, and I think his service might even be today when we're taping this. But Dick Cheney grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska, so that is a very famous name. More modern times, common times, Kansas City Royal fans will remember the name Alex Gordon. He, of course, made his name down in
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City, and he was a Lincoln Southeast grad, and he still comes back home. I see Alex quite a bit when he's here. Of course, a Royal. And for the Maroon 5 fans out there, guitarist James Valentine, one of the founding members of Maroon
Oh.
5, is in the band. So he's a Lincolnite. So some of the like more name common people that people might associate with were from right here in Lincoln.
I'm really surprised. We've been talking about Dick Cheney since he passed, and I am really
Right.
surprised to learn that he grew up in Lincoln. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he spent a few years here, but again, born in Lincoln. So we'll call Dick Cheney one of ours.
All right, I love that. I love that. You touched on this a little bit, which is Nebraska's Capitol building, and it has a really neat name. It's called the Tower on the Plains. Let's talk a little bit about the Capitol building right now.
Yeah, the Sharon, there are like maybe three or four skyscraper state capitals in the country, and Lincoln is one of them. Over 400 feet in height. I was doing some research on this, just looking at the things that I know about it. But when you reach 400 feet in height, that's something that stands out when you come from all sides coming into Lincoln, Nebraska. The sower on the state of Nebraska faces northwest because we are in the very southeastern corner of the state. Our sower, who sows the seed of opportunity, oversees his vision to the north and west, which is the rest of the state. So lots of great things on the outside. On the inside, the architecture, um, I don't know how many times I've been through there, but I've saw or seen something new every time. The story with the lanterns, the lights, the murals, the mosaics all tell a story of the growth of Nebraska as a state. It talks about the early settlements and the people that helped develop our state. And it's a storytelling fabric where every third, fourth, and fifth grader in the state of Nebraska converges on Lincoln to walk through a living history museum, which would be our state capitol.
When my daughter was in Omaha, when we were in Omaha, I think she took a field trip to the Lincoln, the state capitol, and I remember I was so jealous about that because I wanted to go and I never got to go when I was there. So that is still on my bucket list for sure because that is such a fascinating building from top to bottom, pretty much.
It is, and I'm going to challenge you. You're doing a lot of amazing shows introducing people to places to go. Like,
Uh huh.
you probably need to start going and visiting all these great
I
cities.
do need to. You are so right. I need to get in the car and just start driving because there are so many.
Yeah.
And beyond the state capitol that we talked about, and also home of the Huskers, there are
Mhm.
many, many attractions in Lincoln. So let's dig into some of those right now.
The Museum of American Speed, I'm going to hit with that one just if I can right
Uh
away
huh.
because I just had lunch with a member of the Museum of American Speed and we were just talking about what a amazing attraction this is. Speedway Motors is the parent of the Museum of American Speed. They are the largest speed shop, mail order speed shop in the country, if not internationally. Now, the Museum of American Speed is probably one of the most comprehensive motorsports and then some museums in the country. Just recently awarded the best motor racing museum by Newsweek in 2025.
Wow.
So you got to compare us to Daytona, Indianapolis, and a lot of the great museums across the country. This thing stands out and a little bit of everything for everybody from a lunchbox collection to a spark plug collection to motorsports, museums, vinyl records, guitars. There's something for everybody at the Museum of American Speed.
Okay, so get this. My husband is a car guy. I've actually been to that museum because he
Nice.
went to Speedway Motors to pick up a part and we were there and I was like, "What is this museum?" And so we ventured in there and it was really cool. It was very, very
Yeah.
interesting to see all the different decades of cars and the history behind it. So, yeah, a definite must see there for sure. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
it's a lot of fun.
yeah, and let's talk about another Lincoln favorite of mine, which is the Haymarket. This is not only a fun place to go, but there's a real connection to the railroad and agricultural history of Lincoln here.
Yeah, most communities have the old Haymarket, the old market area, your original commerce collection point back in the 1800s where, a lot of your trade went on, a lot of your, your comings and goings of different people from across the country. The Lincoln Haymarket is that destination hotspot for us in Lincoln. It is our entertainment district, which includes the rail yard, Pinnacle Bank Arena, lots of original architecture, original buildings. We have the original Russell Stover's factory and building down in the Haymarket. So
Oh.
Not only do you have modern shops, you have a lot of great history, walking tours and stuff that will tell you about the history of our Haymarket district.
Yeah, and it is such a neat district to go to for sure and explore. We were talking a little bit about museums. One of the really cool museums is the Sheldon Museum of Art, and this is one for art lovers.
It is. It's a one of a kind. It's on the University of Nebraska campus, our city campus, which is downtown. It's an international distinction in that it is a landmark of the highest architecture when it comes to being a modernist building. You'll know it when you'll see it. Just the things that they do in there, the collections that they preserve. They have a Go Big Red exhibit right now, which is part of the football season that we're in, our favorite color red here in Nebraska. So
Mm-hmm.
great location, right? Just within an eye shot of the Lead Center for Performing Arts.
Yeah, we know that love for red here in Chiefs Kingdom too.
You
um,
do, you do.
so we do have that commonality going, is that we are both red kingdoms here.
We
Okay,
are. We hear a lot of the same Red Kingdom music between the two football stadiums. Believe me,
yeah.
I know that.
Right. Okay, so something else I saw that was interesting when I was looking through Visit Lincoln too is Antelope Park. What is that?
Antelope Park, City Park, just outside of the downtown area. It has the Ald Pavilion indoor. It has a John Schildnick band shell outside, a park, a baseball field. It is just nicely located along the Antelope Valley coming out of downtown. Also has a small golf course for youth, the Ager Youth Golf Course. So lots of great things for family basically all week.
Yeah, and staying on the subject of family fun, the Children's Zoo. This is kind of a gem in Lincoln here.
It is. It's a very flat surfaced zoo. So if you're a parent out there looking for something that you don't have to chug a bunch of kids up a hill, some of the bigger zoos across the country, we've all been there as parents. Very flat in nature, very evolving. They've expanded the zoo numerous times over the last 10 years. Giraffes, tigers, lots of amazing things there for kids to do. There's a train that goes around the perimeter, and it is a destination that has now become a year-round destination. They are open year-round, which is a little bit different for a climate right here in the Midwest.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. That's cool. All right, now this next one, I love this one because my co-anchor Brad Stevens, he went to school at UNL, and so he kind of knows all things Lincoln. He also worked there too. He told me
Sure.
that there is a roller skating museum there in Lincoln.
There is. It's the National Museum of Roller Skating.
It's
It is in the
national.
lower level. It is. It is the lower level of the USARS organization, which is the United States Roller Sports Association, the national governing body for roller sports, has their museum right here from the early beginnings of wood roller skates in the East Coast to all the way to its evolution to the West. We are a national hotbed for roller skating competition, so it only makes sense to have a roller skating museum in the heart of the community.
Wow. Okay, wait, let's go back to that. You said you're a hotbed for roller skating competitions, national roller skating competitions. That's really interesting.
Yes. Yeah, just about every I'd say every third year we host the USARS Roller Skating National Championships for figure skating, speed skating, and a lot of other disciplines. They're here an entire month in July. They will compete at one of our indoor competition venues. We will have two competition wood floors in there, and it is a must-see. I will tell you, there are a lot of future Olympians that choose to go ice that start their competition right here in Lincoln on inline skates. Apollo Anton Ono back in the day skated at the
Oh,
roller skating championships right here in Lincoln.
that is cool. That is a neat part of a contribution to history from Lincoln, too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we have still so much to get into, but right now, what we want to do is take a quick break. And we will come back with Jeff in a moment, and we're going to talk about best kept secrets in Lincoln. So we'll be right back. Welcome back to Destination Heartland. Today we are exploring home of the Huskers, Lincoln, Nebraska. So right now I'm going to go ahead and bring Jeff Mall back in. Hi, Jeff. All right,
I'm
so
here. Yep.
yes, you are here, and we love you being here. Okay, before we went to break, we were talking about the Roller Skating Museum, which is so interesting because it brings national competitions to Lincoln. Now, we're going to talk about. And I actually thought that was probably one of the better kept secrets in Lincoln, because it took my co-anchor to tell me about that, to find out about the roller skating museum. So now let's talk about best kept secrets in Lincoln that maybe only the locals know about.
I will tell you probably one of the things that kind of pops off the page is the International Quilt Study Museum. It's the
Wow.
International Quilt Museum, right? So we're internationally known for quilting in Lincoln, Nebraska, and that is anchored at our University of Nebraska East Campus. This is the global leader when it comes to quilt collections. We have people from across the globe that come here to look at museum artifacts and quilts that have been in storage for years that they bring out, but also existing quilting exhibits and quilting education. It's a one of a kind stop, and it's also within a walk. So if you come here with your spouse and the ladies say, we're going to go to the quilt museum, and the dudes are like, what are we going to do? We've got a tractor test and power museum right across the street, and
Oh,
they can meet at the UNL dairy store for some good old fashioned butter brickle ice cream and really make a good trip out of it right there at one stop.
how about that? That's a two in one for sure.
Yeah.
This is the perfect segue, because now we're going to dig into the really fun stuff, which is the food and drink portion here. And I know Lincoln recently is kind of making a name for itself in the beer scene, so craft beer scene, I should say. So, which breweries kind of showcase Lincoln's personality?
We've got a lot of great breweries. I think one of the originals that we have is Laszlo's restaurant in town, and their Empyrean ales were kind of the ones that kind of set the pace or set the bar. Code Beer. We've got a lot of other great beer outlets in this community. The craft beer culture is interesting for me because it's really kind of one of the things we're doing in 2025, telling the story of the people that make the place.
Mhm.
And I think craft beer is more not necessarily about what you do interesting with beer, but maybe how you design the label on the can or the bottle,
Oh,
but also the story from the people that are usually working across the bar are the same people that came up with the idea for the beer, and they want to interact with you. So our beer culture is uniquely what I call the people that make the place. So it's just a fun story.
yeah, and I mean, you said that, like, those are the people that maybe brewed it up in their garage or something, right? And you get to, like,
Yeah.
kind of interact with them to get the story. That is so interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we do Craft Beer Week every year through Visit Lincoln. It's a great way to go out and interact and register to win some great prizes from our local breweries. And again, just getting people introduced to our beer culture because I think really we're doing it well here because you get to meet the people that are a big part of the process.
Yeah, that is definitely unique for sure. And of course, with the drink comes the food. So let's dig into little bit of that. What are some of the signature dishes or local favorites that are Lincoln?
I think if you would ask Alex Gordon and those that have left Lincoln and they come back from time to time, they would tell you that the Runza sandwich
Oh, yeah.
is one of their favorites. You know this, don't
I
you?
know this. I know this.
Yeah, the Runza sandwich is for lack of a better description, it's basically a hot pocket, a light yeast dough pocket that is filled with hamburger and cabbage and a lot of really, really vibrant seasonings. That is the original Runza. They do a Swiss cheese mushroom Runza. They'll occasionally do an Italian Runza. There's just really good ways to do the Runza. And I think they're French fries. They're crinkle fries, but they're different than anything you'll see in Lincoln. They do it really well. So go through and get your extra value meal or your value meal at Runza and take all that in.
Yeah, and runs I mean, it runs the state. It literally runs from Scottsbluff, Nebraska, all the way to Omaha and beyond, for sure. Um, let's see. Let's talk about live entertainment in Lincoln, because I know
Yep,
that's a hot spot there for that.
it really is. We do a lot of great Lincoln Calling is one of our great music festivals. We do Zoo Fest. Lincoln Calling, going back to that, is a great way to expose a lot of our music venues, but also up and coming artists in the region that come here for a week full of music. The Zoo Fest is around the Zoo Bar in downtown Lincoln, a very historic, blues and jazz bar. They do a street festival during the year. We have a lot of kind of mid-range to low-range attendance as far as the size of the venue. those kind of outlets downtown Lincoln that have a lot of up and coming artists. And the Bourbon Theater being one, they do an amazing job. So a lot of great live music. Being a college town, you naturally have to have some sort of music outlet for the college kids during the
Yeah.
season. But during the summer, it's a great place for all of us to get out and enjoy some of our favorite music.
Well, so you brought that up, which is the college scene. And I was going to say
Yeah.
that UNL being there, that has got to be a big contributor in shaping the activities that there are to do, especially in that downtown area around UNL.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I think a lot of the new events that we have come to the community will try to do it when college isn't in session, and you really lose a very captive and energetic audience, whether you're a music festival or an arts festival or maybe a concert at Pinnacle Bank Arena. I think you have to figure out a way to encourage those college students to get out from underneath their books and their dorms on the
Mhm.
weekends and get out and have a good time. And just that interaction of multiple generations, being a college town is something that I truly enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of getting outdoors, let's talk about activities that visitors can enjoy year round in Lincoln, kind of getting a taste of nature.
Yeah, you talked about Antelope Park being one of the parks. Wilderness Park is a very much preserved area. Pioneers Park is one of the places that I think a lot of people enjoy. It's a park that you can drive through. It takes you a little while, and there's multiple stops to see, wildlife. The Pioneers Park Nature Center is amazing. It's a great way to go see just different things that go on in our environment outside of the concrete jungle that we all live in each and every day.
Yes.
Spring Creek Prairie in southern Lancaster County, just far enough outside of town that you feel like you're in the country. Some of the original wagon ruts from back in the day are still preserved, and to this day, it's still my favorite place to start the day with a cup of coffee is just seeing the sun come up, just being a part of nature and environment, and just disconnecting from the busy lifestyle that we have. So that's a lot of fun. And most of our parks, Sharon, are connected by 184 miles of either hard surfaced or crushed rock trails. So you can hop on your bike and get a chance to stop at each one of these outdoor venues.
Oh, that is awesome. A real chance to kind of get out there and see the sights, but at the same time get your exercise in at the same time, right?
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about the festivals. This is always the fun part when I do these segments is the different festivals that I learn about all around the Heartland because I know there's many of them and I know there's a lot in Lincoln, which you already talked about some of them.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see something we did this year for the first time. We did a Lincoln Eats Festival, which kind of brought together the food trucks of Lincoln.
Mm.
Food trucks are a very popular pastime in a lot of communities, a lot of favorite culture. So we had a chance to do that downtown. We partnered with a local individual that's doing a lot on social media to expose our great food culture. So lots of great food. The Lincoln Arts Festival has kind of been an on again, off again opportunity to go out and take in what is the arts and purchase art for gifts, but also interact with the artists. There's just a lot of things that are popping up in the way of festivals, lots of children's activities. We just came off of our big Lincoln Veterans Parade, kind of a festival to appreciate our veterans and thank them for their service. So I don't think we're ever at shortage for festivals. There's just so many out there, and our website always does a great job of capturing all the great things to do in this community.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot. And I want to talk about the Lincoln Marathon too. I didn't realize that there was a Lincoln Marathon.
Still is a Lincoln Marathon. It's an amazing event. Marathons have changed a lot, and without spending a ton of time with this, our Lincoln Half Marathon and Lincoln Marathon back in the day were a qualifier for some of the major marathons across the country, and I believe it still is. The National Guard was very instrumental in starting what is our marathon and the involvement that they've had there as a qualifier. We get people from across the country that come in for the Lincoln Half and full marathon, and the remarks that they say when they leave here is amazing course, great scenery, but more importantly, the people in our community for a 13 and a 26-mile marathon, we will line the streets, we will play music, we will cheer people on like no other. And that is the one thing most marathon participants remark on is great marathon experience, but it were the people again that make the place. So we're pretty proud of our community when it comes to that support.
Yeah, I mean, people, I really feel that people are really what makes the Midwest tick, because you don't see that on the two coasts, right? You don't see that, just that heart of community. And that's what I love so much about being here. And I know that that exists in Lincoln too, for sure.
It does. So we've all taken these vacations with our families and we go find big cities. But I really feel like that when you come into Lincoln, for a night or a week or whatever, there's always somebody on the streets they want to help you. They want to help you find where you're going, great place to park, unique dining establishments, street festivals, all the things we're talking about. I don't know of anybody in Lincoln that's not out there that wants to help people have just an amazing experience while they're here. So it is, again, just something that we do really well in the Midwest.
Yeah, I love that for sure. That is one of the things that I absolutely love about being here in the Midwest. The other thing is the holidays. We've got that right around the corner. So let's dig into the holiday festivals that we can find in Lincoln.
Yeah, it's kind of dreary today in the
Yeah, I
Midwest.
know,
I
right?
think we're
It
starting to gear
is.
up for colder weather. We've been very fortunate that the fall has been really, really awesome and November's been awesome. But as we get towards the holidays, um, our entertainment district, the rail yard, will have ice skating. They take a hard court area, kind of a festival space, and turning into an ice rink. Um, Something that has really gained a ton of momentum. We talked about the Lincoln Children's Zoo earlier.
Hmm.
They now do what we call Zoo Lights, and it is just this amazing holiday experience that I think families are calling this their one thing that they want to do when everybody's back for the holidays is go to Zoo Lights with, a cup of hot cocoa, take a festival train ride, and just see miles and miles just of lights, light tunnels, scenic moments where you can take the perfect Christmas card picture. And I just really tell people that, as your families grow and, your kids get married and spouses come along and grandkids come along, it's the one thing that we can count on here is that when we're all back, go to Zoo Lights and just take it in and maybe start your night at a local restaurant, stop at a local coffee shop on the way home. But just Zoo Lights has really kind of become that one thing that people are excited about right here in Lincoln during the winter.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I love that. And, going off of what you said, if someone were to kind of look for that authentic Lincoln experience, what would you tell them? What is the one thing that you tell people, your personal favorite, when they come to town, that you cannot miss this?
Can I say everything we've talked about is like what I would
Yeah,
recommend? But I
all of
think
the above.
yeah, I think probably the biggest thing is just experience our community, get into some of our shopping districts, whether it be the Haymarket or Piedmont or South Point, Gateway. There's a lot of areas in town that I think people forget about. They come here and they all converge on downtown, but there's so much just out there, and I think if you're looking for something that you want to tell people about, think about hitting 27th Street, North 27th Street, north of O. We have 20 plus restaurants that are all different in international cuisine, people that bring their local traditional dishes from across the globe to Lincoln. In fact, we did a Taste 27th promotion this year. So I think just getting out and just taking off your blinders and trying something new, whether it be to drink at our craft beer outlets, maybe stop in and have a cup of coffee and learn about the community, but more importantly, take in the culture and the cuisine that just makes Lincoln, I think, a very popular international destination for food.
Yeah, so much to do. I mean, from the history to the food and drink to festivals, there is so much to do in Lincoln. So let's close with this. What's the best time to come visit Lincoln?
When it's not cold, how about that?
Yeah, right.
Um, I think twofold, and I think a lot of communities could say this is I think the spring, when everything's really starting to green up and the trees are starting to bloom and people are on the trails and you hear kids playing and dogs barking, there's this ambiance that for me, tourism, you should be able to just kind of look, feel, and smell everything that is the community. And I think you feel that in the spring. But then coming out of our last fall, the colors of the leaves, football season, the roar of 90,000 plus, come downtown and be part of our experience of game day Saturdays in the Haymarket in downtown. So I think it's pretty common for all. Just know that it's going to get cold. It's the Midwest, and we still want to see you here and come experience what is uniquely Lincoln.
Oh, I love that, Jeff. And I actually did go to a Huskers game, my first round in Nebraska, which is when I first started my career. And I remember just that sea of red and how just like almost overwhelming when you walk in that stadium. You're just like mesmerized by every single person in there wearing red and just the spirit of the Husker Nation, basically. It's amazing. It truly is.
It is. And we are labeled as the nicest fans in college football. And I think there are people in this community that would like to see us be a little bit more like edgy around the opponent. And I think we get that way for Iowa because it's kind of that border rival that we
Right.
have. But we are amazing people. And, I'm in tourism and I see people from out of town for a football game and I welcome them here. Thanks for being here. What do you like most about our city? Because I want to hear what we're doing right. But I think everybody in this state feels that way, that there's just that Midwestern way, that Midwestern hospitality that comes through us on Husker game day. And we're coming back. We're
Yep.
winning games again. I promise you, Husker football is on the return.
Oh, yeah, we love that. And with Midwest Nice, it gets better and better and better. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jeff. We really learned so much about Lincoln, and definitely it is on the bucket list now. Got to come visit.
We'll be waiting for you. Give me a call and we'll make sure that you have that best experience while you're here.
All right. Thank you so much. Husker Nation. Doesn't that sound fun? You guys are going to have to definitely go and visit and check out Lincoln, Nebraska. Well, that does it here for this episode of Destination Heartland. We'll see where we end up next week. Until then, I'm Sharon Chen with KCTV 5 News.